Welcome to Deep Thought. Happiness is a state of being. Now, I've been talking about moments of peace and working meditations, but ultimately, what do we all want in life? That's happiness. Let's be real. Every single person, with the things that we do in life, ultimately, we want pleasure. We want pleasure. We want to be free of stress. We want to enjoy life. We want to be happy. Now, you can get a moment of peace, you can do a working meditation, but then you got to go back on the grind. Even when I had moments of peace, I got to think, okay, let me think about what I got to do for next week and all of that. But it's not the same as happiness. Understand, if happiness being a state of being is not something that happens once you reach a destination. For example, y'all know I deal with relationships on my main channel. So you get many men and also some women who feel like, well, once they get this particular man or a particular woman, particular mate, whatever they're looking for, that they'll be happy. It's like, well, if I just get that guy who's tall, dark, and handsome, or if I just get that woman who's beautiful with a nice butt dunk and big breasts. If you get that, you think, oh, I'll be happy. And people will think that they see happiness as a destination. But then if they actually get that person, and they might be happy for a second, I've obtained my thing of happiness, and then they back to their depression. They back to their anxieties. Or if they make a certain amount of money, they'll be happy. Boom. Or sometimes people in a relationship, or they feel like, well, if I get another mate, I'll be happy. I'll make this much money, I'll be happy. You might have it for a few minutes, but then you back to where you started at. You're like, well, this ain't it. Like, you get that from a lot of people who chase around different things because they think they'll be happy. Or if they make a certain amount of money, you'll be happy. Like, even I said, in my previous video when I talked about moments of peace, I can honestly say I have moments of happiness, but it's not a total state of being yet. Now, I might be at more peace than people and happier than most people, but nah, it's not a state of being. There's something I'm still working towards. Because, and I understand it's not a destination because, I mentioned the money part. And understand, I'm not doing this as to brag, but it's more or less the illustration because I want y'all to know, hey, I'm on this journey too. I'm not a guru. I'm not on the top of a mountain. I haven't figured it out. Maybe there's like one or two beings in this world who have figured it out. But if they're on top of a mountain, that's useless. They need to be down with the people to show them the way. But even then, even with the money, I'm like, well, okay, I got all this money. Okay, that means my stuff's taken care of. I'm not stressed out by a certain thing, but can I say I'm totally happy? I'm happier than most, but then there's always some little thing here and there. But the thing is, I understand, okay, I don't need to get to a destination. That's something I work on. I was like, I work on laughing at stuff. And like I said, I get there because I had the attitude. Like I said, I don't tell people stuff I haven't gone through. And I ain't above anybody. I'm like the older brother who done dealt with the crap and then trying to teach the younger siblings. So that's all it is with me. I done dealt with it, so I'm trying to say, all right, I already walked the path. You don't want to go down this way. You don't want to do this. And then I understood because I was that person who thought, okay, if I make a certain amount of money, everything will be okay. Or if I do this, or if I live here, everything will be okay. It was like, nah, it's always something. It's always something. Ultimately, happiness can't be based on material things. Now, I've told the story before how my freshman year in college, I was fly. I had all these polos. Polos. I used to have expensive socks. I was paying a lot of money for socks. shoes, go to class, have necktie and everything on. And if I was basing my happiness on that, and honestly I did, but then it all went up in a poof of smoke when the apartment building I lived in caught on fire. So I'm like, wait a minute. Should that had like ended my happiness? Oh, I don't got all this stuff, or should I have been in a state of being, a state of happiness where I'm like, you know what, I got out with my lives and I can buy all that stuff again. Now, thankfully, that was the earliest I learned that lesson, but I didn't learn it. That's when I was exposed to it, and then start getting a perspective. And, you know, I'm 54 now. By the time I'm 60, I think hopefully I'll be a master at it, just being happy. I'm still working on it, but it's a state of being. You cannot base it on things outside of yourself or making a goal. That's why some people get caught up. They're not happy. You got millionaires out here who aren't happy. They got money. And it's one of the saddest things. There's actually some very deep metaphysics behind that. But you got millionaires, billionaires. But if you really ask them, they are not happy. They're miserable. And you be thinking, wow, well, if I had all that money, well, actually, you don't know what you would do if you had that money. If you got millionaires and billionaires who are miserable, sick. Like, I saw an example in an esoteric book. And it was an interesting analogy I always remember. It was talking about, a man could be a billionaire. He could be real rich. But because those riches didn't go towards keeping himself healthy, he might not be able to enjoy a woman the same way as a common laborer would enjoy a woman. I want y'all to think about that for a second. You got a man who is a billionaire, but because he's so sick and he didn't take care of himself despite his money, that he can't even get his dick hard. Meanwhile, some laborer, some poor person, somebody who's barely scraping by, because they got a different state of being, can make love to a beautiful woman. And then when I read that's one of those things I read. They really helped me, because like I said, I'm still growing and I still read stuff. People don't realize how many things I will read. I do not know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And I said, damn, that's powerful. You got that now. You got people who can, and I think that's what pisses off some people. Some people get money, they got material goods, but you get somebody who living in a place where they don't even have a working toilet, and they happy. They in a state of being, because that's what it is. It's not dependent. Now, don't get me wrong, because Rom enjoys making money, and Rom would ever rather have it than not. But I also understand it's not related to my state of being. I can get moments of peace with it, but it's not related to being happy. And you got to stay happy. You got to. And it's something to work towards. It's hard. And it's probably the most spiritual thing. I think that's why you get some of these spiritual leaders, like the Dalai Lama, or there's another guy, I can't think of his name. He's Vietnamese. Like some of these monks, they be just laughing. They be having a good time, because I think they figured it out. They figured it out, because it is a state of being. You want to be that state of being where you can be happy. And it's related to peace, too. It is related to peace. Like having those moments of peace, working meditations can help get you to that point. And that's why I started with those. But the ultimate thing is being happy all the time. And that happiness is not dependent on things external to you. Like with the microphone and computer I'm using now can crash. In fact, I've had some microphones blow out. I've had computers crash. And even though this computer got a lot of my work on it, if it disappeared, I'd probably be inconvenienced. But, it was like, well, you know what? You're still alive. You're still breathing. And machines are meant to break anyway. But it's the being that I'm not stressed out as long as I got that happiness. Now, I'm not at the point where if the computer crashed, I am not at that point where I'm going to be like, oh, it's all love and bliss. I'll be like, damn. But like I said, I still got work to do. And understand, on this journey, I'm right there with you. I'm leading. But remember, part of leading is understanding that I'm going through it too, and I'm trying to figure out stuff so y'all don't have to go through it. I'm leading the path, so I'm seeing what's ahead, and I can say we go this way or that way. But anyway, happiness is a state of being. Thank you for listening. Something to think about. Peace and blessings.